all the time in movies. It's like, was sort of like, well, why does this charming but kind of, maybe this guy who potentially isn't
a catch?
Well, yeah. Why? But we've accepted that reality. Getting like a beautiful woman who's also incredibly smart and charming and giggles at all his jokes. You know what I mean? We've accepted that for a long time, even though it continues to be.
Well, yeah, my ex-girlfriend did a lot of sitcoms and ended up writing and creating a lot of stuff. And whenever she would audition for things like that, she would always refer to it as going up for another fat guy, skinny wife. Yeah, it's fat guy, skinny wife. Because, it's that sort of, I guess, that aspirational thing that all Americans want, where our American dude is like, I'm going to let myself go, and she's going to love me no matter what. I just farted, and she's turned on. It's like, ugh.
What are some good examples of that in popular culture? I know there's Kevin James.
King of Queens.
King of Queens, right?
Yeah.
That's the one that comes to mind. What else?
Now, I don't know if maybe it's still prevalent, but I think there were a lot at the time that 10, 15 years ago, the time we were together, that was much more prevalent. I'm sure it's still, well, it's like, whenever you would see a movie with Michael Douglas, you're like, who's his girlfriend going to be who's 25 years younger?
Exactly.
Like, you always knew there are certain leading men where you're like, well, whoever he's with is probably not going to be age appropriate. And that's just.
But, I've had like kind of, even though I've witnessed, of course, because I'm a big like romantic comedy fan and blah, blah, blah. So I've witnessed a lot of it and it frustrates me. But I feel like I've also been on the other end where I feel like I've been in movies where the guy feels way hotter than somebody I could get. And I'm like, wait, why would this guy like me? Oh.
Well, I don't know. I feel like you're not always the best judge of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you're always, because I think you have this mental assessment of yourself, or this photograph in your mind of who you are, and I think it follows you your whole life. And usually, for most people, I think that person is somewhere between 13 and 16.
That's a great way to put it.
So
yes.
you're always...
I'm still, yes, yeah.
So whoever you were at that age when you started to, become an adult is probably who you still think you are. Mm-hmm. And so I think a lot of the decisions that you make, or a lot of the things that you chase, are to satisfy that fucking kid.
Just like, please like me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm mad, but please like me.
I like weird stuff.
Yeah.
Please like me. But, it was, I think for a lot of years, I ran away from a lot of those things because I was always embarrassed of them when I was growing up. And then when I got into my 30s, I was like, I think I'm probably just going to like this stuff, and that's okay.
I played a lot of imaginary games until I was like way too, in fact, I still do. But like,
what's your favorite imaginary game?
Oh, well, it's changed a little bit now.
Okay. What are we doing?
Sometimes it gets a little naughty, but I really like.
You mean like not picking up your toys and putting them back in the closet? Or
when I was growing up, I loved Orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how does Orphanage work?
Oh, well, I'm like a version of Mrs. Hannigan.
Oh, you are running the orphanage.
Oh, yeah.
And you're making the kids scrub the floor?
Yes, and the only kids that would play with me, because kids my own age wouldn't play with me, so it would be like the scatter group kids of like the neighbor kids that were like 5 years younger.
You turned them into orphans and you're making them...
and it was terrifying. I would make them be like stay in the closet for like, Can
I just say two things about Annie? First of all, if I were Miss Hannigan, Annie would have been super annoying. I mean, like, oh, fucking shut up already. Just let me be drunk. My life sucks. And this sucks. Also, this idea that, Oliver Warbucks was way a robber baron, like completely probably uprooted civilization. I mean, you couldn't be a billionaire in the 30s and not I mean, you know.
Oh, no, you totally, the Bolsheviks were
exception of the-
completely right. Remember when they tried to bomb, like, the mansion or whatever, Daddy Warbucks' mansion? Anyway, whatever.
With the exception of the Hearst
Punjab.
family,
With the exception of the Hearst family.
who has always,
Of course, right.
been
But in the
totally
end-
on
I'm
level.
glad you qualified.
Yeah, I
that.
just
He
wanted to-
adopted all the little girls.
He adopted all the little girls.
Which
He adopted-
maybe there's a whole
Kinda creepy.
pedophilic, yeah.
That's
huh.
that is kind of creepy. You
Well,
can't be. If
I
you
want
were
my Daddy Warbucks.
Wait a minute. If you were a billionaire and you adopted an entire orphanage of young girls, no one would bat an eye at all. But I guess, like in the 30s, those kids were probably sleeping on asbestos, so it didn't. But now that seems so suspect.
But you know what? I think they cleaned the whole mansion too.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, he got to fire like the cleaning staff, so he saved a little money there.
Clean the floors, or I'm going to
Yeah.
throw you in the and
They were
use you for
used to
fuel.
it.
Yeah. He was fueling the heat of the house. He was throwing them into the furnace, the children.
But I also love boarding school. That was also.
You played boarding school? Did you run the boarding school?
Oh yeah, I was the only qualified person to be the evil one. Nobody else could be as cruel as I was.
And
But they were
friends-
all little kids, right? They were all younger than you.
Yes. And it was frustrating because I also wanted to be like the hot, like older girl who could like go out on dates or run away sometimes or like lead the troops. But instead I had played double duty a lot of times because there was nobody else could just be as mean as.
What is
as
an
I.
example of a cruel thing that you would have these kids do when you were also a
Well,
kid?
I would scream at them, and they really would be, they'd be hiding under the bed. There were definitely a few afternoons of tears. God.
Did you ever feel bad about that?
Well, not really, because I was like, oh, come on, this is good. Like, this is a good performance I'm delivering.
I am honoring the rules of
Yeah.
this game.
But yes.
The rules of this universe.
Yes.
You didn't have to come over here. You agreed
Yeah.
to be a part of this.
And they also, because there is that fun thing when you're a kid of the dueling feeling of like the joy and thrill of fear,
Mhm.
and then also the fear.
Mhm. Yeah.
And whatever, kids like that kind of thing. That's why, anyway. So I was very good at what I did. I never got paid.
Well, you showed commitment at an early age, and it worked.
to be horrible.
It worked out.
Why did we talk anyway? But
Well,
but
because
nerd.
when I showed up, you said Sim and I better, if the floors didn't shine like the top of the Chrysler building,
Oh, that's
then
right.
we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
How does it go?
You'll stay up until this floor shines like the top of the Chrysler building. And
And
then
I mean, right now, it's a hard knock life.
Did you ever do Annie? You must have.
No,
Really?
no.
Not for real. Just.
I mean, in my
in life.
bedroom every day.
And you never thought like, hey, I want to do a production of Annie where I want to play Mrs. Hannah. Like you could have played.
Oh, I wanted it so badly. That was my dream. That and Veruca Salt from
Willy Wonka.
Wonka.
Yep. That, like, I wanted to be. I've always been drawn to like those kind of bratty evil characters, though.
What do you like about them? Is it just sort of that they have this kind of like unfettered emotional power?
I think that because, it's. I think that it's, and I think most anybody could relate to this idea that, it's a release. It's a release to be, to be naughty and bad, and like you get to express those sides of yourselves that you want. It's delicious and full of energy. And these are people that you can't really be. Although I could.
I mean, you could.
I could be. I might, but then I'd be in.
You'd be a really bad person.
Wouldn't I be in? Also, your girlfriend's now a federal prosecutor.
That's
She's
true.
like,
Yeah.
if I start like abusing children and like,
Yeah, you
starting
shouldn't
again,
do that.
Yeah.
I mean, this.
I guess I'm kind.
I guess this podcast could be called Exhibit A at some point.
Chris Hardwick, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks. Bye. Was that the end?
Bye.
Okay.
We learned so much about you.
I barely.
You barely. See, shut off his mic.
Wait, no, I have feelings. I have things.
I wish that I had dated enough to have been like on a date with somebody who really thought they could play guitar.
So that you could pretend like it was good?
So I could just tell my friend later.
You know, because the way that the guy would have done it is if you were coming over after a date or whatever, he would have strategically positioned the guitar within eye shot of where you guys. So you'd go, "Oh, are you? Oh, yeah, but I mean, I don't. Do you want me to?" And then he would sort of try to manipulate you into asking.
And then
him.
You have to sit there and listen.
Yeah. This is just something I've been working on, and then the darkness of the night, and then or whatever.
Actually, I would have loved that. But like on the listen, I'm The Bachelor, or The Bachelorette. It happens more frequently. But there's like a poem or a song, and the nice woman has to sit there patiently listening and thinking like, when the fuck is this going to end?
I would never do that to someone.
That's why you're a good guy.
Well, or I'm just, maybe I'm just insecure about my art. Maybe that's the problem. But I would never make someone sit through. I couldn't. I would feel, ugh.
Would you ever make a date sit through something like you've done, like a TV show of yours, like At Midnight, or something you've done in the past? Would you ever watch?
I would always say, if someone said, "Oh, I want to see your," I go, "Okay, you can come," but I would also qualify it with like, please don't feel like you have to go if you don't want to go.
Right.
It does not hurt my feelings. I would never expect someone to sit through. And, I feel like I'm too much in the opposite direction where it's almost annoying, where if someone's like, "Oh, that was funny," I'll go, you don't have to say that. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking them out of,
right.
because I just
compliment. Sure.
Well, yeah.
Anna does that too, by the way.
What are they going to say?
What do you mean? Like if I said, "Oh my God, you were great on the show," you'd be like, "No, I wasn't." But you do that all the time, or like you're trying your best to avoid the compliment.
No. I actually, I totally disagree. No, I feel like because I want to be in a place where I accept a compliment, but I just feel really grateful for it. I feel like you think so. I guess I need. What I'm actually doing is like, please give me more.
You are in a way, and you appreciate it, but sometimes you tend to recoil a little bit. So I want to continue to give you the compliment, but sometimes I can see in your face like, maybe I don't deserve
Please persevere.
She's having this.
All right. Next time I'll just keep going then. I won't stop.
She's playing orphanage in her head. One part of her brain is Miss Hannigan, and the other part of her brain is
no. But who does? Me. Who doesn't like compliments? And I want to be able to. I was just talking to Alice and Jenny yesterday about the kind of person that will, if you give them a compliment, will sort of not accept your generosity in almost like, for instance, if you say something like, "Oh my gosh, you look so great," and the person says, "Oh, so I didn't look great before," or even if they go, "No, I don't," it's actually more selfish to deny someone's compliment because they're trying to give you like they're trying to connect with you, and you're going and you're basically saying to them, "You're stupid. You don't know good things, clearly. Fuck you." Right.
Yeah.
And, or like, I think she used an example. She told an actress, she was talking about something that happened in like the 60s. And the actress said something like, "Oh, so you assume that I remember because I'm old." Look, just that sort of rejection of.
And she should have said, "Yeah." Well, that was the point of it. Did you not? Was it hard for you to hear because you're old? Like, I mean, that's such an obnoxious for someone. But that just is a peek into their baggage.
I guess so. But it does make you feel bad when you're trying to make somebody feel good.
I guess that's true. I just try to. I don't know, because my wife is very sweet and she's very, she's very complimentary, and I'm always like, "Oh no." And I sort of feel like, oh, well, it's not, I don't know, like, why shut someone down who's trying to be sweet, and connect with you and basically just throw up that wall of, "No, I'm broken. Stop talking to me." You know what I mean? Like, it's not a nice thing to do.
And I think that being a good complimenter is a great skill. Right? It's like, that's like,
as long as you don't overdo it. There are people that over compliment, then it just comes across as false.
That is such an excellent point, Sam. I have heard
I've never met
lot
those
of points in my life, and that's the best one. No, it is, you guys.
I don't know. I don't know.
What's worse than that, I don't like people that accept compliments too quickly either. Then they come across as complete dicks. Like if I say, if I say to you, Chris, by the way, your last show at midnight, it was awesome. And you'd be like, yes, thank you. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, that's
I want to hear, no, but I
dismissive.
want to hear you say, oh, really? I appreciate that. Like you really genuinely appreciate the compliment. If you're quick to thank me, then I'll think that, yeah, you expect it all the time and you're just kind of, an asshole.
Yeah. Well,
Does that make sense at all?
It absolutely makes sense. I was at a couple years ago, I was at a thing and Miley Cyrus walked by, and this is, and I, I was genuinely, in general, I was kind of impressed with the way that she had sort of reclaimed her identity and really kind of pushed through childhood stardom. And so she walked by and I just said, hey, I think you're really rad or whatever. And she didn't even make eye contact. She was like, yeah, thanks. Like, didn't even.
Exactly.
And so at first I was like, well, she sucks. And I thought, well, maybe she, and then I had to, oh, maybe she was high, or maybe she didn't, or maybe she was on heroin. No, I'm kidding. But maybe, listen, I don't know what her day-to-day life is. So if a million people a day tell her that, and it kind of gets in the way of her trying to accomplish what she's trying to accomplish, then she's been conditioned to not be able to, she would never have time to stop and, I mean, I don't live her life. People who come up to me are very nice and it's not overwhelming. So I always take a minute to thank you, So I tried to not put myself in her position, which is, so I bought a wrecking ball and I stripped down into my underwear and I shaved my head. But I try to, because I think a lot of times we can judge people based on our own baggage, and that's not always fair either. So I tried to, take a step back and, but at the time it felt like a little bit of like, oh, all right.
Right.
Well,
I know.
very
Isn't that
special.
funny? Like those brief interactions that you have with big celebrities, and how that's your like 10-second takeaway,
Exactly.
and you remember it. And
that was a millisecond of their life.
Right.
Right. But I think, I don't know. I think about that, and I always want to be really grateful towards, I don't know, people giving me a compliment. And
I just don't go up to people anymore. I don't go up to people unless we're in a situation where if we kind of make eye contact for a second and I see a hint of recognition, then I'll say something. And if I don't, in general.
Wait, but is there anybody like Jamie Foxx?
Well, I would, I mean, I would probably say hi. What I've
Meryl
sort of.
Streep? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I did it with Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, that's good.
But she's
amazing.
She was very amazing about the whole thing. And I also went up with zero expectation. I just wanted to say, I think you're amazing. And I was completely prepared to walk away and not stand there and try to like, let's go on a trip together, And she was so wonderful and engaging and nice. And, there are some people. I went up to Tim Cook at a party because I just wanted to shake his hand, I met Steve Jobs once and I completely boned that.
What did you say to him?
You boned him?
No, I wish. No, I boned it. It was after the, I used to write for Wired, so I used to cover a lot of tech stuff. So I used to go to the Apple announcement. So I was at the iPad announcement, and they have the section after you're, in Moscone Center, they would have a section out of the presentation hall where you could play with the devices. And he was, we were all standing there playing with the devices, and he was just sort of floating through like, this ominous black turtleneck.
Oh my gosh, I love the
through.
idea that he's actually he's actually
floating. Well, he gets he's getting close enough where it's obvious, like, well, we're going to have an interaction or it's going to be weird, or I'm going to have to it's just going to be weird. The only thing I could think to say, and I'm so embarrassed, this was the only interaction I ever had with him. He was walking by with his hands behind his back, and all that came out of my mouth was, "Hey, pretty good job up there." And after his presentation, and it was just one of those, I almost said, "Pretty good job up there." Fuck. Like it was almost one of those. And he just was like, and then just kept didn't even really look. And so that was kind of a bummer. And so I get nervous,
Nervous. And I think that there's like I get too I the risk of rejection is just too great of like if I'm starstruck by somebody. Yeah.
But it also the risk of what if there's someone that you love and you find out they're not great, and then
You always worry
that's
about that.
tainted.
That's
Right,
true.
exactly.
And then,
That's
you know-
happened to me a couple of times.
And then you can't really watch their
Yeah.
work without being like, I remember that
Right.
moment.
But I think I've loosened up a little bit because what I realized is, well, if they don't recognize you, they have forgotten about you the second you stop talking. And even if you meet them again in a different situation, they're never going to remember you.
It's true. I have a question for both of you. Because I envision when two celebrities are in a room or in an airplane sitting first class in the same cabin, is there ever a moment of celebrity chicken, or can you just go unspoken? I always feel like there has
That
to
is
be a moment.
really good question.
I always feel like there has to be a moment where you have to talk because you're all a part of the celebrity club.
I feel that I've been working for so long, and for so much of my career, people had no idea who I was or what I did. And so I just assume they probably don't, you know,
Right.
unless they watch Walking Dead or they watch stand up or they watch Comedy Central late at night, they probably have no idea who I am. So I always assume no one has any idea, to be honest, unless they say something.
I think it depends on if I'm in Bulkhead.
But have you been in that situation where you're on the plane
I
and you
think
see another
there's-
celebrity
yeah,
and you
like,
guys
there's
know you
definitely-
recognize that person?
Yeah, and
and-
like with Julia Stiles, who's been on the podcast before, but we were on a flight together, and I think there was a little bit of we had never met, but definitely a little bit of a recognition of like, oh yeah, you're an actress, and coming from the comedy world, I always feel a little bit like less than, you know, like does this person have whatever, but also like, I know that I'm actually not a part of your world. I'm sort of in the scary movie.
Well, traveling's also weird because everyone travels differently. Some
Yeah.
people don't like to be bothered at all while they're
Yes,
traveling.
yeah.
And if you know, so I feel like, oh, if I bring attention to that person, other people are going to. But this is a pretty slick move that I've used a couple times,
Right,
and it's
alright.
worked. Which is, I will say, 2 times. One time, I was on a flight, and this actor Carl Urban was on the flight, and he's great. I like him. I just like him. You know, he's in the Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
He was in one of the Bourne movies. Lord of the he's just great. So he was sitting 2 rows behind me. So I tweeted, "Hey guys, Carl Urban's sitting on the flight, but I'm kind of nervous to say hello." About 4 minutes after I sent this tweet, I just hear Chris, and it was
That is awesome.
but it was his girlfriend Katie Sackhoff, who I know, and I didn't know that she had a hat on, so I didn't see her sitting next to him. So I just turn around, and she was like, "Hey," you know, and then so that broke the ice. And Tears for Fears was the other one. I tweeted, "I'm sitting across from Tears for Fears," and Kurt Smith literally
I
walked.
can't believe you recognize Tears for Fears, by the way. I
One
don't
of
know.
my favorite bands.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Tears for Fears. I mean, they're incredible.
Same, everybody wants to rule
Right,
the world.
Of course.
All right. So he came over to my seat and he was like, "You could have just said hi." And I was like, "I just wanted to use social media as a layer of separation." So, so
Wait.
2 times it's worked.
What movie was that? I know I should know this.
Tears for Fears?
Yeah, the movie that
No, Dennis Miller's Show. It was the theme song.
2
No,
things.
right?
It was
no, no.
the Real Genius ends with "Everybody Wants to Rule the World"
Okay.
playing. Do you remember that movie?
Suck it,
No,
Sim.
but it was on the
and
Dennis.
it was a theme song to Dennis
Thank
Miller's
you.
show.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome,
Thank
both
you,
of you.
Chris.
Will you come to a Sim?
I will settle all your 80s music arguments.
Because normally he's a big 80s
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
Like
You're
yeah.
both right. So
The
everyone
peacekeeper,
everyone won that round.
Chris Hardwick.
Everyone run that round.
Okay, so we are now going to enter into. Don't you think we should? Okay, should we? We're gonna now test your nerd knowledge, and I'm giving this segment over to.
No, why don't you do this?
No, please.
It'll be so much funnier coming from you.
No, listen.
What, do you have trouble pronouncing some of the words?
Yes.
Can I just?
But that's funny. That makes it funnier.
No,
when you
it
can't.
doesn't make it funny.
Yes.
I've already established myself
we'll
as an
let
idiotic
Chris
blonde.
take
I
on
really
it.
do
don't
want to
reinforce
make a
that
disclaimer
stereotype.
about
Yeah.
this before
Yes.
whatever you're about to ask me.
Okay.
Which is, the funny thing about what has happened to my life is I used to just be a consumer of things. So I was amazing at trivia, amazing at keeping up with everything. And then the more and more I worked, the less and less I've been able to keep up on.
Totally, of
course.
course.
You don't know any of this
So
stuff.
I apologize in advance.
We're just testing your nerd knowledge.
But
That's all.
so many times, no matter what I do, people go, "Someone take your nerd card away." I'm like, just take it. Just take it and be done with it already.
I think you're going to do really well. Anna, just go.
No, please.
All right, fine.
Because here's the thing. I feel like...
Should we switch off? Why don't we switch off?
No, you go first. If I feel like you're fucking up, I'll...
Sounds good to me. All right, we're going to test your nerd knowledge. She's going to take over right away because she thinks I'm fucking up already. All right, this is an easy one. On the TV show Doctor Who, what device in the TARDIS is broken and keeps it constantly looking like a police box?
Oh, the chameleon circuit.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Nice.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What model of Terminator is Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Terminator film franchise?
He's a T-800.
Are you sure it's not the Cyberdyne Systems Model 101?
Oh, well, yeah, are you sure? I guess that's the answer. But I thought he was a T-800 series because when Robert Patrick's, when the Liquid Metal was a T-1000 series, and then when Kristanna Loken played the Terminator, she was a TX. So
I gotta...
Will you accept that answer? She's a judge, by the way.
I will totally fucking accept. I feel like that was more complex. I both... You know what? A+.
Can I tell you a fun bit of trivia
Yes.
that I learned on my
Great.
podcast from Galen Hurd, who was...
I heard that one.
You heard that
Yes.
one. That they wanted, the studio wanted Schwarzenegger to play Kyle Reese's character, and they wanted O.J. Simpson
Yes.
to play the Terminator.
That's so true. I know.
That would have been a much different movie.
There's no way it wouldn't work, right?
So, yeah, so...
I mean, not because of the double, homicide.
Yeah,
Just-
so he
I just
became
don't
a
think
Terminator in real life.
Right.
So he didn't
There you go.
have to... All he had to say in the courtroom was, "Oh, I'm from the future." But he didn't. But he got off anyway, so...
Well, but he could have stolen that shit, like maybe a little... If he was the Terminator, he could have
Right,
pulled
right.
off the Las
Yeah.
Vegas heist a little...
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's true. It's a good
All right,
point.
so okay, there are already two time travel bits of pop culture right off the bat.
It's incredible, by the way. I'm so impressed right now. Let's see if you get this one. In the first Back to the Future, what is the day Marty goes to the future? I want the exact day and year.
November 5th, 1955. November 12th is when he goes back.
No, when he goes to the future, what's the day? This is in... Oh, yes, it's the second. I'm sorry. It's the second Back to the Future. When does he go back?
Damn.
What year is it?
I
It's
guess-
1885. He goes back.
No, the second one.
Oh, in the third one, he goes back to 1885.
Right. When he goes to the future, when Biff has the
Well, that's
sports almanac.
That's just an alternate 1985. He goes back to an alternate 1985.
Are you sure?
I'm.
Wait a minute. Did we...
You mean when he goes into the distant future?
When
yeah,
he,
that's
yes.
2015. He goes in 2015.
Wow. Okay, you got it. Yeah. Do you
and
know
I feel like it's
What
in
month?
October.
It is in October. Do
Maybe
you know
the 20th.
Very
Holy
close.
Okay.
15th.
shit!
15th. Okay.
No, sorry,
21st.
October 21st. October 21st.
Holy
That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Shit.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, by the way. I'm blown away.
What?
Did you want to skip question number 3?
We just got I gave you so many different timelines in Back to the Future because
Which is just incredibly
Sorry, I
impressive.
apologize.
That's
I
amazing.
apologize.
I think we should just go with
Okay,
all of them
good.
now at this point. Why don't you read that one?
shit.
Do it. I'm fucking up. You do it.
No, you're not fucking
Okay,
up.
then I'll keep going. What town in Iowa is the birthplace of Captain James T. Kirk from the Star Trek?
Oh shit. Oh fuck. I know this. Oh god damn it. It's not.
Can we give you a hint?
You can give him a hint.
It's also a town in Southern California. It has the same name.
That's a good hint.
It's Valley Village.
It has to do with, let's say, a body of water.
It's similar to the Archie Comics town where Archie takes place.
Oh, Riverdale is that town,
Right.
And he's from Los Angeles River, Iowa. I don't know. I can't remember.
You're so close.
Do you want to just give it to him? Or do you
River's in the name.
River's in the name.
It's a town in Southern California, like you said. There's only one town in Southern California with
That starts
river.
with a river.
That's Riverside.
There you go.
Boy,
Nice,
I don't.
though.
But that's not nice at all because that you really just.
Yeah.
You almost said R-I-V-E.
That's true.
If someone gave me these questions, I think it would drive
I can tell
me-
you his middle name is Tiberius.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just saying,
Okay, great.
you're
That's correct.
slaying it.
I'm doing okay.
Next question. When is National Nerd Pride Day?
Every day. I have no idea.
May 25th.
Okay, good to know. Should have been May the 4th. Be with you. That's Star Wars Day. May the 4th is Star Wars Day.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you just made that up.
No. May the 4th is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
Huh?
That's true. That's a real thing.
Oh, you guys are so witty.
That's a real thing.
No, we believe you. We believe you.
Just look it up.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. I don't know why we don't believe you. What is Princess Peach's last name?
Oh, I have no idea what Princess Peach's last name is.
Do you know who Princess Peach is?
Of course I do. Yeah, I played Mario. I mean, I've played many of the Mario games.
It's Toadstool.
Oh, Toads, of course. God damn it. Yes, now that you say
Did you
that.
You really?
I really
remember it
did
now?
know that. Yeah, if you played Mario Kart or any of those. Yes.
Hi, I'm Princess Peach's toast.
I've been trying to. My professional name is Princess Peach.
Yeah.
Could they ever make a live action Mario? Do you think that would work
They
as a
did.
movie? They
did
really?
with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
Oh.
They did a
So
Super
I guess
Mario
it
Brothers
didn't,
movie.
It didn't work then. as a movie.
No, it was in like
All right.
91, I think.
Okay.
And they did a Super Mario movie. It should have worked. It should have.
It had all the makings.
Had all the makings. It had
Did
your
you
Bob
buy
Hoskins.
a ticket? Did you buy a ticket to see
Fuck
the
yeah,
theater?
I did.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
I want to. Later on, I would love to hear your 90. How you don't have to tell me your age of 90, 91, but I think.
Oh, I'll tell you. I was in 91. I was 20.
Yeah, I want to hear maybe at some point your 20-year-old review of.
It probably was. It was probably like, well, they tried. I was because at that time it wasn't the idea of making a movie about a video game was. They were ahead of their time. That was a nascent industry of movies coming from video games.
Right. I guess wasn't Double Dragon around that time as well?
It probably would have been around that time.
Has there been a great movie made out of a video game? Isn't the whole concept a little bit like?
Well, I mean, the Resident Evil movies, I guess, if you're really being granular about, I mean, it is a video game.
But they're great. You know what I'm saying? Great.
Right. Great movie. Like a critically.
But isn't part of
critically acclaimed. And the Oscar goes to Double Dragon. It's a sweep. They won for categories they weren't even nominated for. Double Dragon.
Because the whole idea, whatever, immersion. It's interactive, whereas a movie, it's whatever.
It is very hard because yes, when you play a video game, you have a very direct relationship to how it is played, especially now.
Right.
When you have more open sandbox games. I mean, games were so linear in the 80s. It was like, do this and this is your goal. But, people do have such a personal connection to a game and how that it's very difficult for someone else to have their point of view on what that is or what the story is. And games are just fucking movies now. So it's not, they're like 40-hour long movies. So
right.
I don't even know why you would bother. I don't even know why you would bother at this point.
We have two more questions.
Yeah. All right.
What is the Patronus charm in Harry Potter? Is that how you pronounce that right?
No,
Patronus?
it's a Patronus charm.
Patronus. I've never seen Harry Potter.
Motherfuck, are you serious?
Yeah.
It protects the kids from the Dementors. And I have a shitty Patronus, by the way. I went on to fucking Pottermore. I'm a Ravenclaw. Got into fucking Pottermore, and I had a goddamn house cat as a Patronus, and they won't let you change it, and my wife got a wolf. WT fuck, man. I don't want a house cat as a Patronus. I answered all these questions, and I see this silver glittering kitty, licking itself through a forest. What a bad day in my life that was. I almost got a whole new account on Pottermore. Take that, J.K. Rowling.
Was this a quiz that you had to take?
Yes. You answer a series of questions, and it gives
like what? Do you like apples or oranges?
Yes, exactly. It'll say
prefer
up, down,
evening or sunset.
That is exactly right. Are you a secret Pottermore kid? Because those are a lot of the questions, actually. But I feel like it might be just a randomized generator. But yeah, I got a fucking house cat for.
I went on a date once with a girl, and on our first date, she wanted. Do you know those BuzzFeed quizzes that people take all the time?
Yeah.
It was to see if I was going to be, because I've never seen Harry Potter, to see if I was Slytherin or what's the other house called? Gryffindor.
Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw.
Right. So I took all of these questions, and I ended up being Gryffindor.
Yeah, they're the
And
jocks.
she said that's boring.
They are. They're the jocks. Gryffindor.
No. I wasn't Gryffindor. I was the one that Harry Potter was in. The nerdy.
That's who's Gryffindor.
They're jocks?
Yes, Ravenclaw
Really?
are the
Harry Potter's a
nerds.
jock?
You totally made his day.
Ravenclaw.
Oh, yeah.
Ravenclaw are the nerds.
I mean, I don't want to be a
Oh,
jock,
okay,
but
gotcha.
that's pretty cool.
Let's go. Are there other Harry Potter fans here? Okay, so let's just go.
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Let's just go deep down the Harry Potter rabbit hole for a
Okay,
second.
yeah.
Ravenclaw's house motto is "Wit beyond measure is man's greatest treasure." Now, if you take that literally, you would say, "Oh, that means they value wit," which is true, but wit was also a Shakespearean euphemism for penis. So it's kind of their house motto is kind of a dick joke. So they're like Gryffindors always win the fucking house cup. They're always the loudest.
Like, are they like the Patriots? Like, can you put this in NFL terms for me? Not that I know anything about NFL, but
If they were a fraternity, would they
I
be
don't
like
know.
the asshole house?
Well, they would just be the popular. They're really just kind of the popular
They're
kids.
the popular kids.
And like the Slytherins, they're the power hung. The Slytherins are the snake is their house.
they're the bad guys, right?
They're the bad guy. Well, they tend to be the ones that like darkness and power and
Okay.
and a lot of the Slytherins go bad, and the Hufflepuffs are just kind of the derps. Like they're just sort of like the dorks of. You know, they're fine. They're just sort of dorks.
and then who's the other one?
Which one? Ravenclaw?
Yeah.
Ravenclaw is my house. My wife is a Slytherin. Gryffindor
Oh,
is
you
Harry
took the
Potter's
same
house.
BuzzFeed quiz.
Well, it wasn't a BuzzFeed quiz. We took it on the Pottermore.
Oh,
site.
Yeah, not a BuzzFeed quiz.
And Hufflepuff.
Okay, so wait.
The Hufflepuff Bangers.
So
They
wait.
have a Banger for their. That's a Banger.
I actually really kind of like badgers.
Wait, what would Anna be?
She'd be a Slytherin.
But do you agree with my? Oh, she's a Slytherin.
I think so.
You think because I'm on a little bit of a darker side of things?
Well, because you said you liked the darker stuff and the.
Oh, fuck.
The
you're right.
Slytherin is probably the most fun house, I would
Oh,
say.
okay, all
Because
right,
of
I like-
because they're into
I like a
because they're
fun
dark.
dark house.
I feel like I've been misplaced.
You might
no,
maybe.
Sim, you're totally jock. What?
Aw,
You're
thank
not
you.
a Slytherin.
You're so sweet for calling me a jock.
Yeah. What? Okay. So, and then what do you? So, what did you want to be? What do you want to be?
I wanted to be Ravenclaw, and I am. My Patronus was sucks.
Your Patronus, which, by the way, correct
Yeah, if
answer.
a Dementor shows up, my Patronus is gonna lick it.
So it takes, but what is it? It takes the form of an animal. Apparently, it's
Yeah,
a
it takes
spell.
form of an animal that it's sort of like essentially like your spirit animal, and it protects you. It's a protection spell
Gotcha.
essentially, and it protects you from the Dementors are these guardians of this prison called Azkaban, which is very difficult to break out of, and Sirius Black broke out of it, and when the Dementors come, they basically drain your life force, and the Patronus like drives them away. So Harry Potter, at a very young age, had to learn how to cast a Patronus to keep the Dementors away. Only to find out that Sirius Black was not, in fact, a bad guy. Spoiler, but it didn't really seem like you were gonna get on the Harry Potter Hogwarts Express anyway.
I'm never going to watch or read the books. This sounds way too complicated for me.
It's not at all. You should just start.
How do
it.
you remember? No, it's too much. Too much.
It sounds really fun.
It's really
Does it?
fun.
All right, fine. One more.
sounds
We
really
have
fun.
one more question, and
All
then,
right.
then we can move on.
I feel like a house cat could be deceptively like. That's the thing, right? Like you think it's harmless.
Yeah, right. So my Patronus is gonna run into the other room for no reason when I need it, or just ignore me. Yeah, house cats are
I don't
great.
know. I'm gonna make my case for a house cat later.
Okay, I appreciate it.
As your protector
I
animal.
appreciate
or whatever
that
the
because
hell
I'm
it is.
stuck with it. I really did tweet it, and I was like, "Please create a way to change this."
Can we have we get some amazing fan art? Can we have someone out there do some fan art of a house cat as your Patronus? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it
But a
makes sense.
ferocious one.
A ferocious one.
Yeah,
So-
we need Chris to
But it's
understand.
not a ferocious cat. This cat is not a ferocious. My Patronus is not ferocious in any way. Like if the Dementor has a laser pointer, it's over. You know, like it's.
I'm not understanding any of this. I just don't get it. He's looking at me,
This is
and
like when you try to explain
Amy's laughing.
fantasy.
Everyone here is
Yeah.
laughing, and Chris is looking right at me, and I'm just like looking at him blankly because I have no idea what you're saying.
I think it's just so fucking awesome.
I
though.
mean, a cat can scratch you, sort of, or bite you, or its pee smells like ammonia. But like those are the three things that a cat. I mean, it's so rotten. It's such a rotten thing to stick someone with a shitty Patronus. I'm really upset.
But it can't change. It can't be like a
I'd have to
mountain
set up
lion
a
version
whole.
of it.
I'd have to. You know what I would have to do? I'd have to cheat the system. I'd have to set up a whole new account, and I would have to do research.
Cheat it.
I would have to do research to find out which answers to give that engine to get a better Patronus.
I think, you know what? I think it's okay to switch your Patronus.
I think so too. Listen, you and I are on the same page, but not according to J.K. Rowling.
She has an amazing mind, huh?
She really does.
Incredible. Last question. On The Walking Dead, Eric gave Aaron a license plate for his collection from which state? Is this too easy? This is too easy.
Oh, yeah, because he was out getting cars and he gave him I can't remember what the state was.
Oh, so it's not easy.
I know. Well, it was such a blip in that, like, he collects it out. He's out scouting and he collects it and he gives it to him. And I can't remember
but
if
it's an odd. Well, it's not an odd.
It's like
state.
New Mexico or Arizona or something. I can't
It
remember.
starts
what
with an A. We're going to get to the Riverside game.
Dakota?
So
Allegan?
It's
It would have to be Alabama.
Well, let's
Alaska.
think. Okay, where?
Alaska.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I completely failed at that one.
But you
No,
did well.
but
You did really well in this
totally
quiz.
You knew at least what these things were talking about. When these guys were reading off these questions to me, I was like, yeah. Okay.
I will surrender my nerd card for not
Please
getting some of
don't.
those right. No, I don't want it anymore.
You
don't
deserve
want
it.
it
You seriously deserve
I
it.
like sports and Gryffindor and like we were talking about in your other podcast and pussies. Pussies are great. You guys.
Well, you know what? Isn't
What?
that your animal, pussy?
Oh, it is.
Bring it
Sweet.
Oh.
See, there is a power.
It's a sweet silvery pussy.
You know what? You didn't even think about the power of the pussy like that.
I did not think about it. I did not think about it that
maybe
way.
Maybe there's a deeper stuff going on here.
But I tell you, it's so interesting that the meaning of your Patronus can change with the simple omission of an article. You would either say, my Patronus is a pussy, or my Patronus is pussy. Like, those are two different things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're both. It seems to me like they're both powerful.
Yeah, I 100%. I agree more with your assessment than I just don't want a house cat.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll
I'm
get over
just,
it.
I'm just trying to like.
Hey, there's worse things in the world, I guess.
Now, we know that you're married, recently married,
Yeah.
but we're going to pretend like you're single if you don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Chris just slammed his wedding ring on the table.
I'm sorry, baby.
I don't know what her whatever, but she might kill your pussy. Okay. Who would you rather have for a 6-month relationship?
Yeah.
Cersei Lannister
Mm-hmm.
or Anne Coulter?
I feel like I could at least have a conversation with Cersei.
I mean, you would know that if you're making love to her, there's been, obviously some stuff going on with the brother.
Yeah. Oh, listen, you just said 6-month relationship. I'm not trying to marry her. I'm just Cersei, I feel
so
like.
you're cool if you're like, if like, let's say one night, after you guys have had sex, you're in bed, there's candles around because there's no electricity,
Right,
whatever.
right.
And you say, in a moment of insecurity, like, babe, was I better than your brother?
Right, yeah.
Like,
Or, I love you so much, I wish I was related to you. In the most direct way possible. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I still gotta go Cersei.
I would too if I were in your position.
Yeah,
I would too.
I still go Cersei. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, are you watching Westworld at all?
No.
Oh,
Is it good?
It's really fun.
Okay, I need
Well, then
some
what
new
I'm about to
shows.
say isn't going to make sense to you then if I...
Well, say it anyway.
Westworld's really fun.
Westworld. Writing it down. I need new shows.
I just wonder
Yeah.
how mad people would be if at the end of Game of Thrones you just found out it was like a simulation. like
Oh,
Westworld.
and then I woke up like...
Like basically, like it was because George R.R. Martin was having dinner with the showrunners of Westworld and sort of suggested like, oh, it'd be really fun if there was a Westeros version of Westworld.
Oh, that's right, because it is a simulation. Right.
It's essentially
Yeah.
a simulation, and then it'd be really insane if you at the end of Game of Thrones it just cut to like whatever the inner sanctum was, and it was like Anthony Hopkins or someone, like we need more dragons, and they're just building them. That'd be amazing. People would be mad though. Because people really treat entertainment now like it's politics.
Oh, I heard what you were saying to Sarah Jessica Parker about if you watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah. If you pretend that Ferris Bueller doesn't exist and that it's a Fight Club, it's a basically Fight Club where the entire Ferris Bueller exists only in Cameron Fry's mind.
Amazing.
That he's an extension of Cameron Fry. It changes the entire movie. Oh, my friend Faris is the one that got me to wreck my dad's car. My friend Faris is the one that got, because Cameron is so insecure and fucked up, and he has so many problems, and this oppressive father, and so and Faris is just too idealized. So I think
there are those beautiful moments in that movie with Cameron, like at the art museum, and and like when he's like waking up, and
so yeah.
I mean, he looks like. I mean, and I'm all for casting older. Listen,
he did look older than the other two. He did look a little bit older than the other two, but yeah, he was.
But you're right. That's so interesting. Like he was. Sort of
I can't wait to rewatch the movie now. You've seen it recently with that in mind, and it works.
Yeah, it does work. It works in the same way Fight Club works, where you're like, well, I guess it's believable that you thought Brad Pitt was showing up to a place.
Does that mean that Jennifer Grey though is Cameron's sister potentially?
Either that or. It's all just an extension of.
Or should you fast forward through the scenes that probably won't make sense to the story if you watch the story this way?
Maybe, but honestly, I feel like Jennifer Grey and Cameron Fry look more alike than Jennifer Grey and
what's her Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, but who remembers what Simone's name is?
I know it is. Oh,
in real life,
Mia Sara.
Yeah, it's Mia Sara. She's married to Brian Henson.
Oh.
Wait, is she really?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Oh, cool.
Good. Yeah.
Wow. Time Cop, by the way.
Time Cop, great. Yeah.
Now we're going
Jean-Claude.
into the multicam world, as I like to call it, because I am on a multicam show.
Camera 2, camera 3, camera 3, camera 2.
6-month relationship.
Go to camera 1.
Blanche Devereaux.
Oh yeah. I'm a huge Golden Girls fan.
Or Rose Nyland.
Wait, which one is Blanche and which one is Rose?
Blanche is the oversexed one. Rose is Betty White's character.
Yeah, Betty White is Rose.
And who's this like lovable simpleton, basically.
And Blanche is Estelle Getty?
No,
she's the one who's always
she plays
like,
the mom.
On.
She plays Dorothy's mom, Sophia.
Yeah.
She was actually like not
Younger.
The oldest one.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but she played.
Is that Rue McClanahan?
Rue McClanahan plays Blanche Devereaux.
Which one is? Oh, yeah. So it's Rue McClanahan versus Betty White.
Yeah, that's a really good question, but I think I gotta go. I think I gotta go Rose. I think I go Betty White.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's a separate question. What town did Rose grow up in?
Oh, she was from. Oh, please don't. I know. It's St. Olaf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Excellent work.
Yeah, I would go Rose.
You would? Now why?
Because she's such an incurable optimist, and I feel like that would be good for me. And I also feel, and she was also legitimately funny. And Blanche is the type of person that the second she wasn't happy with you, she'd have her legs wrapped around some other dude's face.
You're so right. And you know what? I do feel like Blanche, because she was, even though she was like, she liked to get it on with lots of different guys. She had a sense of, she was a little proper. So she'd want to change you. She'd want you to be wearing
She was much more of a control freak. I feel like Rose would just be fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like Blanche would be fun for like a week. And then you would just feel
But you might not
consumed.
want a ton of one-on-one time with Rose. But she gets to go home every day to her facility.
Yeah, but then you'd be like, Rose, we should 69. Oh, I was never good at math. Like, you'd get a lot of those moments, and then you'd laugh, and then,
It's 6 months. All right.
6 months. 6 months. Yeah, I'm still in for 6 months.
Okay, number 3, Kelly Kapowski or Jesse Spano? Are these ringing a bell?
Are those Saved by the Bell people? What are
Look
those?
at you. Did you plan that?
No.
That was amazing.
Just the natural genius that just comes out. Yes. Saved by the Bell.
Were you a Saved by the Bell fan?
No, I was slightly too
Really?
old for Saved by the Bell.
I know.
But one of my best
Me
friends,
too, I meant.
one of my
Not like-
best friends, April Richardson, did a podcast called Go Bayside, where she.
I remember that.
Yeah, so
She did it for your network, right?
I don't think she did it for us. She just did it, and you would basically you'd watch an episode of Saved by the Bell with her, and then you would talk about it afterwards. and it was great. And she did every episode. Yeah, I was not really a Saved by the Bell. Yeah, I was slightly too old. I was a couple of years too old for it. So, I guess, but I know who. So Kelly was,
well,
Tiffany Amber
Thiessen.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Berkley was Jessie.
but and we can still explore this, but it does make me wonder what your other favorite, like what besides Golden, like what were you? What was
by the time that came around, I was already into like Mystery Science Theater and Ren and Stimpy and like more alternative comedy stuff.
Mm-hmm. What about like around age 14, 15, 16, or maybe even earlier? Maybe
Who's the Boss? Did you like?
Yeah, I watched Who's the Boss.
Did you like Alyssa Milano?
I did.
Everyone had a crush
Everyone
on
had
her.
a crush on Alyssa. Everyone had it when I was growing up. Everyone had a crush on her. Yeah, I mean, but I watched a lot of like weird sci-fi stuff too. So
what did Judith Light and Tony, what was his name?
Tony Danza?
Yeah, did they ever get together?
I think they did.
I think they did. They ended up
That was
getting
when they
married,
jumped.
right?
Did they jump the shark at that point?
Probably.
The sexual tension was gone.
I think yeah, that's the whole thing, is that the attention has to happen. But I think at a certain point though, it's like, oh, just fuck already. You know what I mean? Like they would eventually.
But that's when the show jumps the shark, right? When the couples get together, like in Moonlighting, Sam and Diane.
But the show didn't really.
No, not Sam and Diane. I'm thinking of no, Kirstie Alley never got together with Ted Danson, right?
They did. I think they did hook up for a while, but then he ends up with Diane. I think. Doesn't he end up with Diane in the end? I think he ends up with Diane.
Oh yeah, she comes back.
She comes back,
and then she ends up with Tom Berenger.
Yeah, Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley ends up with Tom Berenger, who's a plumber.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
So I don't know if I have a pick on this one. I guess maybe. I mean,
how about Kirstie Alley or
Shelley Long? I would have gone. That's a really good one. I think I would have gone Shelley Long. Yeah, I think I would have gone Shelley Long.
Yeah, good choice.
Really?
Yeah. She was also in one of my favorite movies, Night Shift, which is a fucking
great movie.
But wait a minute. But why? I mean, because I think Shelley was had an incredibly difficult role in that show in Cheers, playing sort of uptight and a goodie, and that can be really thankless sometimes. But why? And Kirstie was like a little bit. She was a little.
She was demanding. She wanted to be she's the boss, but she was sexy for sure.
Right. Like she exuded a little more sexual, or maybe they allowed her. I don't know. But so why Shelley?
I don't know. Maybe it was just sort of the challenge of breaking through that exterior, that tough exterior, that unbreakable thing that she had about her. Cause that was, the earliest days of Cheers was that Sam could fuck everyone except her.
Right.
And so he was obsessed with her because he could never break through because she was just immune to it.
Oh my God. You are tapping into like most of our listeners' questions right now.
the Diane versus Rebecca.
Well,
question?
like the idea of game playing and sort of, I don't know. I feel like we get a lot of questions from a lot of our listeners that are sort of, why doesn't why doesn't he like me? And it usually, right, Sim, it has something to do a bit with like, well, we hooked up. I thought everything was going great. He said that he really liked me. Why doesn't he text me or contact me ever again? And so the struggle as, a proud woman who I like to call myself a feminist, the idea that, man, I really wish that we could all have a ton of sexual freedom and no one would subsequently judge us for any of our actions. But the idea of the chase, I mean, it is sadly kind of real, right? And maybe it is the same for women as well. Maybe if a guy is like, "Oh, I love you so much, I want to marry you," maybe that's also a turnoff. I don't know.
Well, I think it works on both sides, because I think, there's this there's that idea of, do you remember Blade Runner?
Yeah.
Okay, so so Rutger Hauer finds Terrell, this guy who gave him life, basically. And, and Terrell says to him, the candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long. So when you burn out all of I think a lot of it is also sort of understanding what it is that you're, sort of what's your agreement in this date. And I'm a terrible dater. I was a terrible dater. I was always in long-term relationships. I would date intermittently in between relationships and was just never very good. Didn't really like it. I like to just have everything on the table. Like, we like each other. Why? Let's not, like, I was not a good game player in that way. And I could not set up a fun, hey, let's set up a romantic steeplechase for us to play and get excited about. But I do think that, people always confuse lust as something greater than what it is. It's like you meet someone and then, or, if you see someone in a room and you get that feeling in your stomach and that sort of like weird, your molecules vibrate and you're just really drawn. That's lust. That's lust. Maybe you could extract love from that afterwards, but once you sort of burn out the thing that's there, then it's kind of difficult to have a relationship that's, my wife and I, when we started dating, immediately, like on our third date, she was like, well, I got a job in South Carolina, so I have to move away for several months. So we had to actually get to know each other. We did not have the luxury of, like just being all on top up in each other's business and burning out all the physical stuff. So by the time that came around, we actually really liked each other. So yeah, I just think the problem is some guys, they get super lusty and they'll say whatever to, and maybe some of them do mean it in the moment. Oh, we're going to feel this way forever. But then once that fire burns out, then they just don't, and I'm not saying that's a good thing. I just think that's what happens sometimes, like on both sides. I've had it happen on both sides where I dated a girl and I was really into her and then we hooked up and she just blew me off and I was like, but I thought, what happened? And I just didn't understand. It was like, right. Oh, she just wasn't whatever. We didn't really make an agreement. It's just she had an idea in mind and I had an idea in mind. Right. And those ideas were incongruent. Right. And that's just what happened. Ultimately, I just think dating sucks. And it's difficult to find people who have your goals. Short of going, hey, before we go on this date, here's everything I'm looking for. What are you looking for? Like, that's not really romantic either, because that's sort of boring.
Yeah. I think, though, in terms of like sort of the game playing culture of a guy saying like, oh my God, I've never seen anybody as sexy as you or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And like, I really like you or whatever, doing a full seduction. And then in turn, sort of somebody hearing exactly what they want to hear. Cause doesn't that sound delicious? What do you mean you've never seen anybody sexier than me? That sounds incredible. And so wanting desperately to believe in the moment of seduction without, and then ultimately feeling kind of, pretty bummed out that they're not calling or nobody calls anymore, I guess.
Well, I think if you want a relationship, I think people should do different things than if they do. But I think you also need to have an honest conversation with yourself and go, what do I really want?
Right.
Do I just want those moments of passion and lust and like ripping clothes off and where you can't think straight? And if you want that, that's fine. But if you do it really soon into the courtship, I think you do run the risk of kind of burning it out really fast. And if you really like someone, like and I'd say on both sides, don't sleep with them right away. And, if you're in a situation where the other person is like, I mean, it's been like 5 dates and we haven't had sex yet, I can't, and they go away, that is them walking away holding the red flag that they were. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because that just means like, oh, well, that's what they were.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's so true, but it's such easy advice to dispense.
I know.
But I feel like in the moment, it's like, and I think now, there's so much pressure for the hookups to happen immediately because I think that there's a desire to believe like, okay, I can be a sexually free person. I can have unemotional sex.
I think most people can't.
I agree with you. I can.
And I think Tinder has really, which is really just a HPV pyramid scheme, but I think Tinder really is, has kind of, I think, convinced people like, oh, you can just hook up all the time with no emotional consequences and it doesn't matter. And I completely disagree. Like, it does matter. And you know, I think there are very few people, and those type of people, if they can do that, that's totally fine. I'm not saying that's bad or better or anything. It's just different, but I'm just not one of those people.
I'm not either. We talk about this a lot. Like I'm not either.
And there were a lot of people that I didn't, you know, not a lot, but there were people that I did not hook up with because and maybe it's just because I was older, that I did not hook up with because I said, well, you know, where is this going to go? We're going to hook up. I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship yet. I don't know if this person even wants that, but because I don't know, I don't want to talk about it beforehand because I feel like that'll make it weird. And so I just didn't hook up, you know, like I chose to not hook up.
That's the mature thing to do.
Well, that is a really kind thing
to do. That's the kind thing to do. That's the right thing to do.
I don't know if it's kind because
but it's the right thing to do.
I don't know if that other person wanted that or not. I just sort of felt like this is going to when you get older, you start looking at consequences and you go, well, this is just going to complicate. And I actually do like this person. And if we do sleep together, then it's going to get complicated. And then is that going to change you know, like the hangout situation that we have, which is really fun.
You can't even have that conversation. It's like too awkward to even have that conversation, especially that early on,
unless you know them really well. Or you could just have it and, you know, if that scares them away, then it scares them away. And if it doesn't, then it was the right thing to do. I mean, I don't think there are any real solid rules.
No.
Do X and Y will happen. Like I think you were sort of speaking in probability terms, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would just say if you really like someone, I wouldn't hook up with them super fast if you want to draw it out into a longer thing. And if they go away quickly because you're not giving it up, then you've saved yourself. You know, you'll be bummed for like a day or two, but you've saved yourself like 6 months of heartbreak down the road when you kind of discover, you know, it's so funny when you're dating, like the lust part is so clouds your judgment to the extent that if you really listen closely, people tell you exactly who they are very quickly. And it's really whether or not you are smart enough to listen to them or you can get the other stuff out of the way to be able to listen to them rationally, because people really will tell you exactly who they are, and they will tell you
really wise.
They will tell you in exact terms. Well, they'll go, you know, I'm just a shitty person. You need to listen to those things because even things that are sort of just casually thrown off, they're telling you who they are, and also their actions tell you who they are. So if someone fucks you and they don't call you back, or they're weird to you because you're not sleeping with them right away, that is them telling you who they are. And you're not listening to it because you're making it about you're saying, what am I? Even that question, what can I do? Well, there's nothing you can't make someone a better person, or you can't make someone do anything. So rather than focusing on yourself and go, what can I do? Just look at them and go, well, who are they? What are they doing? Maybe I don't want that. So I think that's a better way to ask that question.
You're so right, though, that people show their hands or show their cards to you, and it's like whether or not you're looking at them.
And it's when you replay stuff in your head from situations that go sideways, it's almost kind of funny. We'll go, holy fuck, the only thing they didn't do was paint it on a billboard, you know, but all of the other evidence was there, and it's one of those like,
you just choose to ignore all of it.
You push all the red flags out of the way to see them. So yeah, I guess that's my advice.
Okay. Well, and we're going to get more into that in a minute, but now we have one deal breaker and one, how do you proceed? And then we'll probably take a quick break, and then we'll get into two calls if you have the time.
Sure.
Okay. This deal breaker.
Yes.
You are once again, you are on a 5th date.
Okay.
With a beautiful woman named Gwen. She graduated from MIT.
Okay.
And you're out at a great restaurant. Sim, what's a good? I never go out to
a good restaurant, like maybe like a Providence.
That's what did she study in MIT? Was she an electrical engineer or a mathematician?
She did computer science.
Computer science. Okay.
There's probably some more specific major.
Computer science is fine.
Computer technological science.
Well, the addition of technological makes that 12% more advanced.
You're at Providence.
Okay.
And you're having a really lovely time.
Okay, so you're setting up this utopian situation.
Yes.
Okay.
It's your 5th date. Don't forget.
Okay.
Her name's Gwen. So she asked you about your lineage, and maybe you talk about that for a little while, but we actually aren't too interested in that part.
Are you setting up that she's kind of racist?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to hear my? Am I answering you? Okay.
We don't want to. But she's very proud of hers. And she tells you that her great uncle was Paul Bunyan. Mm-hmm. And is that a deal breaker?
Well, I would laugh. Like I would assume it was a joke.
No.
She's dead serious.
Yes.
Deal breaker.
You can ask her some follow-up questions if you want.
I'll be Gwen.
So, Gwen, this great uncle,
Paul Bunyan.
Did he have a pet? Do you have a giant? He had a blue ox as a pet?
Well, you know what? They everyone always says it was blue, but it was a little bit more reddish blue.
So Paul Bunyan is your real actual uncle. He's a
great
uncle. And he was based on. So Paul Bunyan was based on your uncle, your great uncle.
No. He was my great uncle.
Oh. Well, that's really interesting. So
I can't wait for you to meet my dad.
What is
my grandpa, because they are really big.
Really big what? Oh, they mean big people.
They're just really big.
So
people.
they're like the size of a forest. So he was the size of a forest. Was that exaggerated? Or he was legitimately like a big.
Who, my dad or?
Well, your great uncle Paul. Bunyan.
Uncle
Great
Uncle Paul. Yeah, he was really tall. Yeah, he was really, really tall.
So okay. So my question is: has anyone ever advanced the idea that Paul Bunyan may not have been a real guy?
Listen, was George Washington a real person?
Yes, most definitely.
Was Marie Antoinette?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were real people. They were real people. As far as I guess ultimately, how can you prove anything? I think when we talk about the
founding fathers of our country, you cannot eliminate Paul.
I think you could. I think it's possible to.
No, you can't.
Well, just if you're looking at historical record, you can.
This is why my family started a movement to do revisionist. But we're trying to revise. We're trying to correct school children's books. My dad's on it. I don't know. He started a nonprofit. We're raising money. I would actually love it if you would come to this fundraiser.
I'm going to freeze the scene because I'll tell you exactly what's going on in my mind right now. Tell you exactly what's going on in my mind. What's going on in my mind is it's not a deal breaker yet. But what's going on in my mind is, okay, there is something that she believes that may or may not be. I would still be thinking, well, maybe she means based on, and then I would start to feel like, okay, well, I've gotten something wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Mm-hmm. So when I get home, I'm going to
look it up.
I'm going to look this up and see, oh, maybe I missed something. Maybe this was based on a thing that I don't know about. And because
so you're still giving her the benefit of the doubt right now.
I'm still giving her the benefit of the doubt. 100%. I'm still giving her the benefit of the doubt. Okay. Maybe I fucked this up.
Gotcha.
Maybe I'm being stupid. I wouldn't immediately write her off. I would poke around. And if I sensed that she started getting uncomfortable about it, I would drop it.
Gotcha. Even with the red ox?
Even with the ox.
Okay.
Yeah, even with the ox, I would
not red.
Drop it.
I said reddish purple.
Reddish purple.
I would drop it, and I would not.
I would love to tell you more about Paul, though, because my Uncle Paul, because not a lot of people know too much about him.
Like what? Oh, I'd be interested to hear. What was something that? What's a common misconception about him? That he was that tall?
He was not 200 feet tall.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
He was 60, and
well, that's. That's still really tall.
And his only weapon was ever an axe. He was able to sort of, he was a trailblazer through the West with his axe. See, he was sort of like Johnny Appleseed.
Okay, now we're getting into deal breaker territory. Because my date, if I were
Johnny
younger,
had seeds in a pan.
Yeah.
And faith.
Mhm.
My uncle had an axe and an ox, and sort of the belief in manifest destiny.
If I were 25, I would feel like I'm going to see where this goes. You know what? This seems fun.
Right.
I really want to find out like what this is. And also I sort of feel like I'm not ready to ding this person yet. I'm like, well, maybe I'm ready to make an exception if I'm younger. But now that I'm a little bit older, what I would say is something is definitely not right in this situation. Mm-hmm. She either doesn't understand reality. Like there's something, in order to make that kind of a mental leap, that there's something there are other things that are not quite right. This is symptomatic. This is a symptom of a larger thing. And I frankly don't know if I have the energy to sort through it. And so I think that
you're done after this date, or are you leaving now?
I'm not leaving now. I'm gonna be polite. Okay. And then have we been physical at this point?
What do you think?
5 dates? Have we been physical at this point?
Have you guys?
But we've
fooled around. Yeah, we fooled around, but we haven't.
So this could be like sex night if you played your cards right.
Right. No, I don't do it.
You don't do it?
No, because I've already made the decision. It's like I couldn't date someone who said, who seemed great in every other way, but was like, but I don't believe in science. I'd be like, oh, well, we probably won't have a lot to. I mean, I remember, years ago, I
believe in science. I went to MIT.
It's amazing that she's here. She's in both realities. Right. I remember one time I actually did not hook up with someone because this person was amazing in all these different aspects, but very religious. And I don't have anything against religious people, but I'm not religious. And so what I saw was this is probably going to go in the direction of a relationship. And if it gets very serious, the question of religion is going to come up at some point. And if we get, and this is part of my problem is that I overthink everything. Yeah. If we get married, if we have children, it could be an issue if she firmly believes something that I firmly don't believe, and vice versa. That could be a real down the road. So someone who firmly believes that Paul Bunyan was their great uncle, I feel like it's kind of a deal breaker because I feel like there's something going on here and I don't know what it is, but I just don't know if I can get into it. And sooner or later,
I can't wait for you to meet my brother, Paul.
How tall is he?
He's pretty tall. He's 11 feet tall.
Okay, great. So it's been bred down a little bit from 60 feet over the generations. Yeah. And there's no photographic record of this person. Why?
My brother Paul?
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, of course. He plays for the Slovakian basketball team.
Well, I don't follow sports.
He's a forward.
He's
huge.
Okay. You know what? I'm sure
we should go visit him.
Oh, I don't.
Wouldn't that be fun? Have you ever been?
No, I've not yet been to.
Oh my gosh, it would be so fun.
It would be really fun to. Do you have a picture of him standing next to a horse?
My brother?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
No, he does not like horses.
Okay. Is he? Do you have him standing next to just a picture of him in life? Do you just have a picture of your brother?
On me?
No.
Are you attracted to men? Tall men?
I don't want a picture of your brother on you. That's what I thought you were asking. Cersei? Cersei Lannister? do you have a picture of your brother like on your phone or something that I could take a look at? Or is there like do you have an Instagram account?
That's so weird. Why are you so interested in my brother?
I've just never seen an 11-foot tall person before. I'm interested to see.
No, he's really tall and he's really good at what he does. I mean, he was not like so skilled that he couldn't make like the NBA or anything. But we're all really proud of where we came from. And
so why is he playing over there? He's from America?
Yeah, because he wasn't good enough to be in the NBA.
But why? But I just feel like anyone would sign an 11-foot tall person regardless of if they had any hand-eye coordination. They could just sort of stand.
He's all legs, though.
So he's no torso? He's just legs and a head and a couple arms?
His torso is only like 1.5 feet.
So he's kind of deformed, I guess. I mean, that's 1.5 feet torso.
You're talking about my brother Paul.
But listen, I really would love to see a picture of this 11-foot tall man with a foot-long torso. I mean, this is a foot. Like, so his torso is just like this, but then he's just...
Do you like to make fun of, like, people who have, like, not so common physical attributes?
I do. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I like to make fun of chesties, people with foot-long...
You do?
I don't.
I thought last night when we were hooking up, you seemed really, really cool.
I'm not a cool person. I'm not a very cool person. I apologize for making fun of your brother who's doing the best he can with the
best he can. He's huge over there.
Literally. with a foot-long torso. So is it just like nipple navel, like right there? Is it just like, I'm just asking. I've never seen it before. I've never.
Like, I look at my brother naked. You know what? I don't objectify people.
Well, that's not objectification.
I don't look at people and say, oh, that person's so tall. Oh, that person. I don't do that. That's not who I am.
Your cock should not be bigger than your torso. Like, that's a strange.
Okay. So, are you asking me if I know how big my brother's cock is? Because it's 3 feet long.
What? Wait a minute. What?
It is.
It's 36
the Bunyan
inches?
family is very proud.
36 inches. It's 3 times the length of his torso.
The Bunyan family, we've always had, all of the male members have had huge dongs.
So the females don't, because you don't, your height.
Oh, are you saying that we have like long clitorises? Is that what you're saying? Like, is that what you're asking me? Because that's kind of a dick thing to ask.
That is an interesting question. It would explain a lot about last night, but I didn't know that was the scenario. But I think that's great. You know
what's great? What do you think is great?
I'll tell you what's great.
What's great?
What's great is we're going to get this great cheese plate, and we're going to have a great trip to go meet your brother. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to meet him.
Will you take my family name, Bunyan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, I've always wanted
Chris
to
Bunyan.
marry into fame. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to be a part of American culture in such a significant way is something that I'm proud of, because and I don't care who hears it, I fucking love this country.
We are at Providence. You have to keep your voice down.
Yeah, Providence. Why isn't there more American food here? Because I love this country.
Oh.
Paul Bunyan's great niece. You better show some respect.
I think they already know.
How do they know? How am I the only person who didn't know this?
You just did Google me, I guess.
So, do you want to stay over, or should I come to your place, or...
Come to my place. I want to show you my animals.
Why? I mean, good is what I meant.
The whole Bunyan family, we're animal crazy.
Like what? What kind of animals do you have?
Well, we tend to like useful animals, animals that can sort of haul tractors or trailers or wagons.
So like an ox or like a mule.
Yeah, oxeye or
like a musk ox
water buffalo.
Water buffalo, bison.
Not quite as, but
So where do you get a water buffalo in the United States?
Oh, are you kidding? Or the Bunyans? No.
So people just give you large pack animals just because of your family?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm all for it. So it's weird because, I've seen your apartment, but it doesn't seem like there's... Does your apartment have a field?
I'll just have to take you up to my Simi Valley place.
So your place is in Simi Valley.
Yeah.
That's a deal breaker. I'm sorry. I will not go to Simi Valley. Too far. Too far. Do not take me out the 118 freeway.
Okay, I don't know if you have enough money to pick up the check here, but do you want me to? Because I'm a Bunyan.
I mean, I would love to see you drop some of your Bunyan funds on the... But you know what? I asked you to dinner. I think it's only right that I'm gonna cover dinner.
I feel like Uncle Paul would approve.
He's kind of Uncle Paul, right?
But he was always a gentleman. Especially to the natives.
Well, I don't know if that...
Are you good at like chopping trees?
No. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. Yeah,
That's
I chop
cool.
all sorts of wood. I just I got a new hatchet that I'm very psyched about.
A hatchet, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, my family is they're pretty much like kind of anti any like anything that's easy.
Where's
you know
the cheese
what I mean?
plate?
Here's a check.
Oh, we didn't even get the cheese. It doesn't matter. I'll cover this. I got this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just run this card right here.
Please run that card right there.
So your plate's mine, or?
Well, oh boy. Let's go to my place. I live underwater. I'm a mer person. I sleep underwater. Are you cool with that?
Okay, I went to MIT.
Yeah, I know. You went to MIT.
Nobody actually can sleep underwater.
As a matter of fact, that's not true. I have subcutaneous gills, and my family are mer people. I kind of don't appreciate your tone. I mean, it's like every landy I meet makes fun of us.
Do you have to put salt in the bath like Madison did in Splash?
We're not fucking savages. No. You don't have to put salt in this. Salt dries out my skin.
So what can we go in your do you sleep in your pool?
I mean, you would call it a pool. I call it a living room.
Is it warm?
It's room temperature,
Okay.
which is cold water. I mean, for most people, but not for me. I wish people could see you dragging your hair across your nose.
I think there's something that we have in common that I haven't really met in anybody else.
Guys, we're closing the restaurant right now.
Oh my God, how did 6 hours go that fast? This has been so good.
Here's your you can just sign it.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
And your
Next
cars
time.
are outside waiting as well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Mine is the limo with the hot tub because I gotta sleep in the...
Mine is the water buffalo with the wagon. Thank you.
Thank you so much for dining with us.
It was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
Thank
So I can't wait
you.
to meet your brother.
Oh my God, he's gonna love you.
I can't wait for you to meet my family. They will love you. Trust me, it's hard to understand them. They just speak underwater, but they will absolutely
Did
love
they do that
you.
high pitched thing like whales do?
No. It's just more like, but yeah, it's
Can
really.
we actually, on a separate note, after the end of this scene, what is zombie talk? Are
What?
they actually communicating with each other?
I'm sorry. What scene?
Sorry. What's...
Thank
You
you so
mean-
much. Thank you so
You mean the
much.
scene of Providence? This place is really sceney. Like it is
Okay.
a scene.
We have to
Okay.
lock up right
I
now.
just want to take you to a nice place.
No, this has been awesome. Let's go back to your place, okay?
Okay.
But I'm just gonna be about 5 hours behind you.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'll just be chilling in my living room. It sure is nice the way they cobblestone the streets in front of Providence. It really takes you on a journey. And I love your Clydesdale. Love your Clydesdale.
It's my water bottle.
Should we take a
Yes, we should do the
5-minute
calls.
break?
But yeah, let's take a 5-minute break. But
and then do the calls?
yes, but then I do really want to talk about zombie language.
Why don't we do this? Take a 5-minute break. We talk about
Fine.
zombie language, and then we get right into calls.
Fine.
'Cause there's 2 callers waiting for us.
It's true. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I love you, dear listeners.
No, we don't have to say that.
Yes, I do.
Fine, say it.
Fuck you, Sim. Hey, Sim, why don't you just tell our dear listeners to fuck off? Huh?
I would never do that. I would never do that.
Oh. He does that in
Can you
private,
believe this, Chris?
everybody.
Do you get this with Katie at all?
Oh, no. Katie does not like talking on mic.
But yeah, but what I'm saying is that you have this dynamic with her where you
I
can
make
just like
him-
tell her to fuck off.
No. I feel like Katie would beat the shit out of me. Katie's like a fit sports person.
Oh, she is.
Oh, yeah.
I guess Chris is saying that we're both not fit sports people.
No, but she's like really fit, you guys. No, I just mean she's like sportsy. She's sportsy. She plays sports like she's real sportsy.
I love listening to you two talk in the beginning of every
I know.
episode.
You guys have a wonderful rapport and
Yeah.
friendship.
She used to be very nervous getting on the microphone, and then she finally, after and I made her
She's
do it. I'm like,
fantastic.
you gotta
She's
do
great
it.
She's
at it.
great.
People want to know who
Yeah.
And she's got an amazing voice. She's a cool person.
She's cool, yeah. She's cool. You're both super fit, by the way. I just want to say, Gryffindor. This guy's a Gryffindor.
Exactly.
Slytherin.